Hey guys, welcome to Bipolar Boxing. Let's do a prediction. UFC Freedom 250 main event. Illia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. You have champion versus interim champion. Gaethje's at the end of his career, but he deserves a fight like this. He is the interim champion. No matter how much you want to say, like Arman Sarukian, why the hell he wasn't in that bout? Like probably because of his pullouts and other bouts and stuff like that. But um, bottom line is he fought, Patty Pimblett, somebody who did not deserve to be in that spot, but that was for the interim title. So he is a interim belt holder. So you got to first of all, I don't understand why they even took the belt away from Topuria. He was off for like 8 months or some shit like that. Um, you don't have to take the belt away from him. You could just have like a title in recess or something, or it's not even a recess. Like some fighters don't fight in a two fights or a fight in 8 months. So like I don't think they should have taken the belt, but they did it to get Patty a title shot and give him a winnable fight against a guy like Justin Gaethje. And it's just the politics of the UFC. But Gage's a guy, he's come in, he's done everything he said he was going to do in this fucking UFC. He comes out there every single fight. I'm still waiting, and I've been waiting since his first fight with Louis Firmino, I believe. Shout out Louis Firmino. He had two wars with Justin Gaethje. And you want to see some really good fights, go back to the World Series of Fighting and watch Gaethje versus Firmino, because those were two absolute wars. And it just kept. I loved Justin Gaethje at that time. At that time, he was like a 7-0, 8-0 fighter coming up, and I loved him because he had very good striking, very good leg kick. But all I've heard about him was that he was a wrestling guy coming up, and he had a wrestling. He was a collegiate wrestler. I think I might I'd have to check myself on this, but it might be a school like Penn State or some shit like that that he wrestled at. I think it was a serious D1 school that he wrestled at, and regardless, he has that in his back pocket. He's never used it, especially in the UFC. He never uses his damn wrestling, and I'm waiting for him to pull it out. And it doesn't look like he's ever going to do that, and I don't think he's going to use it here. But he's going against Ilya Topuria. Topuria, I'm going to make a bold statement here. He's the best MMA fighter I've ever seen. I'm a huge John Jones fan. I watched John Jones' whole career. I'm from about 45 minutes away from where he grew up. Big John Jones supporter. But as far as like the eye test, Topuria is the most complete fighter I have ever seen. He has the wrestling in his background. This is also a weight class where guys are extremely fast. This is 155, but I'm talking more about what Topuria was at 145. That's a weight class where guys are extremely fast. And Topuria is noticeably quicker than everybody else in that division. He's smarter than everybody else in that division. He might have better wrestling than everybody in that division. And we're talking about guys like Max Holloway and Volkanovski. Like, not, here's another bold statement I'll make, and I'd have to go check, but this is just off the top of the head. But his last three fights, find me anybody in their UFC career who has knocked out guys with bigger names or better than Alex Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira. He knocked all three of them out right in a row. Like those guys are all. Oliveira's borderline an all-time legend, but Oliveira is at least a top 10 ever 155er. You got to give him that because a lot of his losses were at 145, I believe, and he did better, a lot better at 155. But Oliveira, Max Holloway is an all-time great. Alex Volkanovski is an all-time great. They are both arguably the best ever at 145. I mean, I'm still an Aldo guy, but best ever at 145 could be Volkanovski 1 and Holloway 2. And he knocked both of those guys out. And then he knocks out Charles Oliveira, which can happen because Oliveira is reckless at times. But it's also like going into that fight, my prediction for that fight was a first round knockout, and he knocked him out in the first round. So it's not like it was a fluke thing or anything like that. He's just an amazing fighter. And I remember what really turned me on to him was I remember because I had so much money because I hated Ryan Hall. My brother loves that guy because he's a jiu-jitsu specialist and everything. And Topuria was only minus like 300 against him. And I threw the house on Topuria in that fight and he dominated Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall did that stupid thing where he likes to just lie down on the ground and then just butt shoot to the guy and try to pull guard. And I think he tried to do that against Topuria. And when he got close enough, Topuria just dropped a couple hammer fists on him and he ended up getting a knockout. I think it was a ground and pound knockout. But Topuria is just he's a guy I'm not betting against him until he proves me wrong. Now I did say the same thing about Hazmat Chimaev before he fucking lost to Sean Strickland, but Poirier is on a different level than Chimaev because his wrestling might not be as dominant as Chimaev, but it is compared to the guys in that division. Like I said, 145, there ain't nobody out wrestling Ilya Topuria there. And same thing with Chimaev at 170. Like, yeah, there's or 185 in now. But yeah, there's nobody out wrestling them there. But the striking difference between a guy like Topuria and Chimaev is night and day. And Topuria's boxing is probably the best in the UFC. Like, it's scary. It's scary how good this guy is. His footwork, his speed, his combinations, he can do it all. I love Gaethje and I'd love to root for him in this fight, but as a gambler, like you don't have any favorite fighters. You don't bet on guys just you don't bet with your head, you bet or you don't bet with your heart, you bet with your head. Like I don't have favorite fighters in the UFC. Like I go with the guy who I bet on that night, and I'm throwing the house on Ilya Taporia. I have him on. I think I got him on like 12 different parlays already that are just ongoing parlays. They're mixed in with a lot of boxing. So with odds like minus 650 is very high in MMA, and anything can happen in the MMA. It's usually the cream rises to the top in boxing. It doesn't always happen in the UFC just because, or in MMA, because there's so many different ways you can win that a lucky punch, a lucky elbow, a lucky kick, a takedown, make one mistake and you fall into a submission. There's just so many different ways. In boxing, even with those big gloves, like you can get clipped with one punch, get knocked down, take the mandatory 8, and then get up and hug the guy for the rest of the round, make it through that round, get your shit back together, and then come out and just dominate the rest of the fight. I've seen that happen a lot. You can't really do that in the UFC. Like you take one of those hard punches, they usually just rain punches on you if you go down, and eventually the ref will stop it. So I don't like betting very high odds in the MMA too much. But if there's a guy you're going to just bet the rest of his career until the fucking guy loses. It's Ilya Topuria. Bet the guy until he loses, until if he goes up to 170 and fights Makachev, even though I'll take him right now over Makachev. I'll take him right now over him. Like, just his striking is so good. There's usually guys that like, if you're that good in one element, you don't have any of the other elements. Like, he's that good in all elements of the game. So I don't see the way he loses this fight. The only way would be I'd say Gaethje landing those leg kicks. Gaethje's one of the best leg kickers in MMA history. And if Gaethje can pick him apart with those leg kicks, because as a more of a boxer style, Topuria is a little heavy on his feet, and he does kind of stick that front leg out there a little bit. But the problem with a leg kick is the counter for a leg kick is just a straight punch down the middle. And when you throw those leg kicks, you better prepare to be countered. But that's what gets Gage's game. When he does those leg kicks, he's like, I know I'm going to take a punch in the face, but I'm betting you that my leg kick's going to hurt you a lot more than your punch is going to hurt me to the face because I can take a punch. Can you take that leg kick? But if he was going against another guy, I might have a different way of thinking about this, but it's a guy I hold Topuria. I can't think any higher of another fighter in all of MMA history, really. than I do Topuria. Yeah, there was a moment where we were all just blindly taking Fedor and shit like that. But Fedor also had very tough competition. I mean, back in the day, you had those heavyweights were just crazy back then. And yeah, he was a dominant fighter, but like there was always the chance that he could lose. Topuria, I don't see that. I see Topuria, this is the start of his run in what I believe is going to be the most dominating run in UFC history, depending on how long he stays around, because I believe he'll overtake Khabib and he'll be the best 155er ever. And then I think like, 7 or 8 years from now, like we're gonna be talking about Topuria as the greatest MMA fighter, or just having the conversation of him versus Jones, because Jones also never lost unless you count, the loss to Matt Hamill. Shout out Matt Hamill, Utica, New York. But it's going to be John Jones or Illia Topuria when it's all said and done, I believe. So I'm definitely not going to pick against Topuria in a fight like this, a showcase like this. Like this is Justin Gaethje's like Super Bowl for the end of his career and everything, and he deserves it. But I don't think he's going to try to go to his wrestling in this fight because he has in his whole career. He knows one way to fight, and that's come forward. He can take punches to give them out and stuff like that. But I just, when a guy like this, when you're taking punches and you're trying to get back, hoping that they'll engage, Topuria will engage. He's just very difficult to hit because he's got great footwork. So it's not like he's almost going to be like Core Stevenson. I hate when people say that he's a boxer that like runs. He doesn't run. He stays right in front of you. He's just very difficult to hit. So it looks like he's not engaging. He is. He's right there within striking range all the time. He's just very difficult to hit. That's where I think Topuria is going to be. He's going to be within striking range to get Gagey, to draw out punches from Gagey, but he's just going to win a dominant performance. I would not be surprised if it's a knockout in the first round, but it's going to happen within the first 3 rounds. I do not think Gagey's also been quoted as saying before that he only trains for I believe it's like 17 minutes. He's like, so even my fights that go 5 rounds, I only train for that guy to be able to last 17 minutes with me. So I'm going to go all out. I'm going to leg kick him to death. And after 17 minutes, if he's still standing, he's like, from then on, I don't know what's going to happen, but he's like, that's all I train for. And like a guy like this, that's kind of the game plan you have to have. Like, don't train your stamina to be able to last 5 rounds because it ain't going to go 5 rounds. Work on other things in your game and just go out there and go all out. And hey, maybe you clip him. Maybe you hurt him. Maybe he can't take your punches like you can take his. He's a 145er coming up to your division. I know he's had a few fights up there, but we'll have to call him a natural 145er, and he's coming up to your division. So, there are a couple advantages if you want to look for routes for Gagey, but I just don't see it. And I'm a huge Gagey guy, but he ain't winning this fight, and I think he's going to get knocked out. So Topuria, for a final decision, I'll say round 2 knockout, but I think Gagey gets hurt really bad in round 1, and then I'm gonna say early round 2 stoppage for Ilya Topuria. So let me know what you guys think about these fights. If you disagree with me in any of these fights, I know like it's kind of a boring thing because yeah, I pick a lot of favorites. I've been doing this for over 25 years online, betting boxing and stuff like that. I used to have an old Bodog account when Bodog was in and all that stuff, and I just been betting heavy. I started off trying to fire these underdogs and stuff, and I just said like, why am I taking all these guys fucking lose? Let me get on the other side of this. And you can't really do it doing straight. So this is a perfect card to just do a shitload of parlays with. And do a parlay with all those heavy favorites and then parlay them with like Diego Lopez and Pereira Organ, whoever you want to take. There's no bad pick in that fight. But take the heavy favorites like Houthi and Topuria and just have them boost the odds. Like I always say, like, man, get a little juice on that pick. Like, take some of them heavy favorites. You throw them all on a parlay because when a guy's like minus 700, um, the seven, if you put two plus seven minus 700s together, then all of a sudden it gets brought down to like minus 275 or so. So people say like don't throw minus 700. There's no reason to throw them on there because it's not enough juice. If you throw enough of them on there, it becomes a lot of juice and it'll double your parlay if you like an even odds guy. So that's what I recommend doing. I don't recommend playing any of these heavy favorites straight by themselves. I recommend adding them into a lot of different parlays. Whatever you're going to do for the next couple of weeks, gambling wise, especially if they're 50-50 fights, add these guys on to a bunch of different parlays so you don't lose ton in one instance trying to just win. That's why when these big favorites lose, like I don't lose too much money because I'm never betting them straight. I bet a bunch of 50-1 favorites every single week. And yeah, they all come in, but I'm not going to take that risk of doing that dude straight and losing all that money on one fight. So just add all these heavy favorites into parlays and with one low, like minus 200, minus 150 or whatever, and you're going to see that parlay rise into plus money. But that's what I would recommend doing. So let me know who your guys' picks are, and let me know who you think Topuria should fight next after this fight because it's got to be Sarukian for me. I would love that fight. Sarukian seems like he's a fucking RAF fighter by now. He's fighting in that freestyle wrestling, but yeah, I'd love to see Topuria versus Arman Sarukian. I think that's the true one versus two fight at 155. But let me know what you guys think. But enjoy this night of fight, guys, because it's gonna be an exciting card. Have a good night.